You're watching Wish TV, News 8 at 11 with Phil Sanchez.
Welcome back. Well, Governor Mike Braun hosted his first State of the State address tonight. You saw it live right here on Wish TV. It's his first televised address since taking office just 16 days ago. We go unfiltered tonight with members of Indiana's best political team about the address and Braun's busy first couple of days in office. Let's welcome in Mario Masalamani and Lindsay Hake. Good to see you both. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Lindsay, we'll start with you. What were your initial thoughts on tonight's address?
Well, I thought tonight's speech from Governor Braun was a very safe and competent speech. It was not the most visionary speech like we're used to with Governor Holcomb and Governor Daniels and even Governor Pence. But I think it was a pretty good place to start. And I see some great commonalities for frankly, all of us, all Hoosiers, to benefit from.
Mario, your initial thoughts?
I agree with the fact of commonalities. I think there's issues that he hit on. You know, during his campaign, one of the big things that he had heard from Hoosiers was property tax cap relief. I think that he's trying to focus on making sure that they cap, increases and, possibly have like a sales tax holiday for back to school supplies, things of that nature. But I do think in his speech, there were a lot of things that both Republicans and Democrats can agree on. One of the things he talked about was increasing teacher pay. He got a standing ovation for that from all members in the audience. So I think that there is a lot of good things that can come out of, both Republicans and Democrats working with the governor on his agenda.
Now, Lindsay, in regards to some of his first days in office and some of the executive orders, we did see some protests outside of the State House today. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, and we actually saw, frankly, a counter demonstration during the actual speech at the State House. There was a large number of folks on the fourth floor during the speech as well. I'd say there were at least 300-400 people there. So there is a huge conversation ongoing, especially with the uncertainty that's come down from the federal government and the way that Governor Braun has doubled down on some of those initiatives. But I will tell you one thing about that speech that really missed the mark was the fact that he didn't mention utility bills at all. He had harped on that a number of times during the campaign, and many of those increases from utility companies right now surpass any increase in property taxes.
Mario, what do you think of the protests that were taking place?
I feel I was a little upset with the protest because, there were members of the Black Caucus that were protesting. If you're not at the table, if you're not at the seat of the table, then you really don't have a lot of impact. And I think that it would have been good for the Black Caucus to show some respect by being there during the speech and then possibly doing something later in some sort of protest. But I don't think that it really made or moved the needle at all. And in a way, with Braun's speech, there were a lot of things that the Black Caucus can jump on board with and work on teacher pay, tax relief, economic development, healthcare, education, especially with giving tax credit and incentives for businesses to try and hire and develop curriculum for kids that do not want to go to higher education. So I think there were a lot of things in his speech. To Lindsay's point, he talked about a wide host of things, and his speech, I think, was approximately about 45 minutes. He couldn't put everything in there that he wants to discuss, but I think that he hit on the main points. I think Hoosiers are going to be excited, both Republicans and Democrats, and I think, in some ways, it's a wait-and-see game. This General Assembly, it's going to be important. He said he's going to work with, members from both parties in the General Assembly this upcoming session, so I'm hoping that he's able to get a lot accomplished in this first year.
Lindsay, obviously he's getting a lot of pushback, specifically from the Black Caucus, as Mario mentioned. We saw a bunch of folks from the community also coming to his office today to discuss some of these executive orders. Are we going to expect, or should we expect to see more of that?
Well, the result of the whole reason for that visit to the State House, to the state governor's office on the second floor in State House 206 was because of the fact that Governor Braun's proposed budget completely zeroes out funding for Martin University. So there's some room for improvement in that budget. And in these conversations, we had a lot of hyperbole tonight. We didn't really have a lot of details, but that's what the legislature is for. So some of these bills are ongoing, and hearing on 1004 was just yesterday with these inflated hospital costs.
Mario, your thoughts on the Martin University situation? Close us out here. I have less than a minute.
I think that, some of the cuts that Governor Braun is planning on doing with government efficiency, having people come back to working 5 days a week within the government, reducing the cost of government, I think he's going to be able to save some money. I don't believe that this is an end to Martin University getting funding. I think that it's an important university in Indianapolis, and I think that at the end of the day, we'll get the funding. As Lindsay said, in the General Assembly, there's a lot of sausage being made, and it takes a while to get that sausage to the final product.
Yeah. Mario, Lindsay, always good to see you both. Thanks so much for coming on with us. Good, logical conversation tonight. Always a pleasure. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.